Receiving a phone call for a dementia resident in a dementia unit is a much bigger process than most people realise. So phone calls are generally received by the charge nurse, and they are always busy. If it's not medication rounds, then it's dressings, or maybe someone's had a fall. They're always attending to multiple things at any given time in the day. So when a phone call comes in, that's just an extra job on top of all the other jobs that they've got. Then finding the dementia resident can be difficult. If they're in the lounge and the nurse is in the lounge, that's fine. But if not, where are they? Are they in their room? If not, where in the facility will they be? Any number of 30 rooms. They could be lying on any bed on any of those 30 beds. So that means going around the whole unit, opening the door and looking in 30 rooms, which takes at least 5 minutes. So that's extremely time consuming in a dementia unit. So really, and then of course, when you get the dementia, find the dementia resident, for example, in a room at the end of the corridor somewhere in someone else's room, if you find the dementia resident there and they're asleep, then trying to wake them up for a phone call from their son overseas, and they're confused, they've just woken up, it's a surprise or a shock for them, trying to settle them down, that's one thing. And then the second thing is, you can't really get them on the phone, you can't keep them lying on their bed, you've got them to get them sitting in a chair to take the phone call, so that takes another few minutes to get them sitting up, then to get them to walk to the chair if they're stiff joints and weak legs and poor mobility. Then once they're sitting in the chair, explaining to them that their son's on the phone, and also making sure that they've got some support under their elbow, that's best, so that they can keep holding the phone there rather than dropping it as they often do. So all of that can take up to 5, 7, even 8 minutes total in a busy facility with the nurse having everything else going on at the same time. So it's really difficult. And also the dementia resident isn't prepared for the phone call. If they're sleeping on someone else's bed, they're confused enough anyway, not having found their room. They're sleeping, so that makes them, more out of sorts if they're woken up. And then, of course, they're having to sit in someone else's chair in a room they don't know to take the phone call. So there's too many aspects to this which makes receiving a phone call quite stressful for all parties. So the best thing really is, if you're a son overseas and you want to call your mother, the best way for her to receive a phone call in a dementia unit is for you to delegate a time, a daily time when you can ring your mother that the staff know about. Okay, so if it suits you to be able to phone your mother from London at 6:30 every night, for example, that's a really good time to call a dementia unit, because dinner's finished, all the dishes are done, and your mother can be walked from the dining room to the second lounge, which is quieter, rather than the first lounge, which is where the loud TV is. So if every night the staff know, okay, they're going to walk your mother to the second lounge, get a comfortable seat, put a pillow under her arm so she's got elbow support, and at 6:30 the nurse knows, okay, you're phoning, she'll be there at that time with your mother, and your mother can then receive the phone and have a chat. And the nurse beforehand will have said to her, your son is phoning at 6:30, so just be prepared for that lovely phone call, Mrs. Jones or whoever it is. So this is a lovely setup, so it's really better, so much better, to make a regular time. The staff know, the residents know, and it's just easier all round, rather than just calling when it suits you. It will hardly ever suit the unit. Random phone calls here and there. I mean, they'll be polite enough to put the calls through, but it will always be an extra stress on top of things most of the time. But if you make the regular phone call and it's charted in the notes, the carers know about it, the nurse know about it, and the resident themselves is in a routine of receiving the phone call, they will maybe not remember it, but at least they can recognize that something's going to be happening and they can be reminded, which is good. So these are all the ways to be able to receive a phone call in a dementia unit and make it a lot more stress-free for everybody. So I've written these 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise, both from a dementia unit, both on Amazon and my website, description below. Please subscribe and thank you for your likes. Thank you.